One piece of paper, 23 words, and the complete destruction of a 400-year-old dynasty. What if I told you that a single love letter brought down one of the most powerful kings in European history? A letter so scandalous that when it was discovered, it sparked a revolution, toppled a throne, and changed the map of Europe forever. This is the story of King Leopold IV and the love letter that cost him everything. Welcome back to Throne of Scandals. Today, we're diving into one of the most shocking examples of how personal choices can have earth-shattering political consequences. This isn't just about royal romance gone wrong, it's about betrayal, blackmail, and a secret so explosive that it literally ended a kingdom. Stay until the very end, because the devastating moral lesson in this tale will change how you think about love, power, and consequences forever. The year is 1847. The Kingdom of Moldavia sits at the crossroads of Europe and the Ottoman Empire. King Leopold IV has ruled for 12 years, and by most accounts, he's been a decent monarch. He's modernized the army, built roads, established schools, and managed to keep peace with powerful neighbors. On the surface, the kingdom appears stable and secure. Leopold is 34, married to Queen Elena, Spanish princess, whose dowry and family connections strengthened Moldavia's alliances. Together they have 3 children, projecting the image of a strong and respectable dynasty. But behind the palace walls, things are far less harmonious. Leopold's marriage was arranged when he was barely 18, and though he respects Elena, he has never loved her. She is cold, deeply religious, and more concerned with court protocol than with him as a husband. That's when Maria Constantinescu enters the picture. Maria is not just any woman. She is the wife of Count Dimitri Constantinescu, one of Leopold's closest advisors and childhood friends. She is stunningly beautiful, intelligent, and everything Elena is not: warm, passionate, and genuinely interested in Leopold as a person rather than as a king. The attraction begins with harmless conversations at court gatherings but quickly deepens into something dangerous. For 2 years, Leopold and Maria maintain a secret affair, aided by trusted servants and hidden meetings. The king has never been happier, and his renewed energy shows in his rule. But Maria grows restless with secrecy. She pressures Leopold to annul his marriage and marry her, regardless of the political chaos it might cause. Torn between love and duty, Leopold makes the fateful decision that destroys him. On November 15, 1849, Leopold writes a love letter to Maria that historians later call the 23 words that toppled a kingdom. In it, he writes, "My beloved Maria, I renounce all crowns, all kingdoms, all duties that keep me from your side. You are my only sovereign now." But he doesn't stop there. In the same letter, Leopold outlines a plan to abdicate the throne in favor of his 7-year-old son, with Maria as regent. He vows to divorce Elena, leave Moldavia, and live with Maria in Paris. Worst of all, in his desperate attempt to prove devotion, he includes state secrets, military defenses, diplomatic strategies, even the location of the royal treasury. In his blind passion, he essentially hands Maria the blueprint to seize Moldavia. Leopold entrusts the letter to his most loyal servant, Vasil Popescu, with orders to deliver it directly to Maria. But Vasil makes a choice that changes everything. Instead of following orders, he delivers the letter to Count Dimitri. Why betray his king after 20 years of service? The answer lies in his daughter, who worked as a maid in the Constantinescu household. She had overheard Maria boasting to her servants about how she would soon rule Moldavia, not through love but through manipulation. Vasil, realizing that Maria sought power more than love, understood the danger. If Leopold's plan succeeded, it would plunge the country into civil war and foreign invasion. Heartbroken, he chose loyalty to Moldavia over loyalty to his king. When Dimitri reads the letter, he's devastated. His wife betrayed him with his best friend, but worse, the king betrayed his entire nation. Instead of confronting Leopold privately, Dimitri takes the letter to Parliament. On December 3, 1849, he reads it aloud before the nobility. Shock ripples through the chamber. The revelation that Leopold would abandon his crown for adultery is scandalous enough, but exposing state secrets to his mistress is outright treason. Parliament erupts with outrage. By evening, word spreads through the capital. Angry crowds gather outside the palace, demanding Leopold's abdication. Queen Elena's powerful Spanish relatives lobby European courts for intervention, framing the scandal as an attack on her honor. Maria, realizing her dream of power is collapsing, attempts to flee the country with stolen royal jewels. She is caught at the border and arrested. Under interrogation, she reveals even more damning evidence of Leopold's reckless confessions. Cornered, Leopold attempts one last desperate move. He claims the letter was forged and accuses Dimitri of orchestrating a coup. For a moment, it seems plausible until Maria produces dozens of additional letters written by Leopold over the years. These contain more state secrets, insults toward his subjects, and promises to abandon his duties. In one particularly damaging passage, Leopold dismisses his people as simple peasants who wouldn't recognize good governance if it bit them. The final blow shatters any remaining loyalty. Even Leopold's closest allies abandon him. Queen Elena demands annulment, taking their children back to Spain. On January 15, 1850, Leopold abdicates the throne. His son Alexander is too young to rule, and the Regency Council is hopelessly divided. Within 6 months, Parliament votes to abolish the monarchy entirely. After more than 4 centuries, the Kingdom of Moldavia ceases to exist, absorbed into neighboring Romania. Leopold flees to Paris, living under an assumed name until his death in obscurity. Maria is executed for treason in March 1850, still claiming Leopold had promised to make her queen. Dmitri, unable to bear the humiliation and guilt, takes his own life weeks later. The scandal becomes infamous across Europe. It reshapes how monarchies handle royal correspondence, creating stricter systems to secure private communications. More importantly, it undermines belief in the divine right of kings. If a monarch could throw away a dynasty for passion, how could they claim God's mandate to rule? The downfall of Leopold IV feeds into growing republican movements across the continent. The original letter survives to this day in the Romanian National Archives. Historians note Leopold's handwriting grows increasingly erratic as it progresses, suggesting emotional distress or intoxication. Psychologists who study his correspondence argue he may have suffered from severe depression or even bipolar disorder, leaving him vulnerable to desperate acts of passion. Yet beyond politics, this is a deeply human tragedy. Leopold had everything: power, wealth, heirs, but felt empty and unloved. His arranged marriage provided stability but no affection. When he finally found someone who seemed to care, he abandoned reason and brought destruction upon himself and his kingdom. Maria, whether manipulator or lover, paid with her life. Dmitri, torn between loyalty and betrayal, paid with his. Elena and her children lost their place in history, and thousands of servants and citizens lost their livelihoods when the monarchy was dissolved. None of this was inevitable. Had Leopold exercised restraint? Had Maria been content with secrecy? Had Vasil delivered the letter? Or had Dmitri confronted matters privately? History might have unfolded differently. Instead, one reckless act of love became the trigger for the collapse of a dynasty. And so we end with a reminder. A single love letter, 23 words long, erased a kingdom from the map. Leopold IV's story shows how even the most powerful are still human, vulnerable to weakness and poor judgment. But it also reveals how one person's choices can ripple outward to affect thousands of lives and alter the course of nations. What do you think? Was Leopold a tragic romantic, destroyed by his need for love, or a weak king who deserved to lose his throne? Could the scandal have been contained, or was Moldavia doomed the moment he put pen to paper? Share your thoughts in the comments side. Love to hear your take. If you enjoyed this scandalous tale, hit that like button and subscribe to Throne of Scandals for more unbelievable stories of royal betrayals and downfalls. And don't forget to check out our other video about the wedding night scandal that humiliated a king. You won't believe how that story ends. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the smallest actions carry the most devastating consequences.